Hey y'all, welcome to Camp Washington's online youth camp. We are on day 4. This is Thursday, and we're so glad you've joined us throughout this week. We've been enjoying our live Zooms and the different videos that we've been able to watch, and we look forward to discussing with you guys at our live Zoom tomorrow the rest of our Bible studies, but tonight will be our live Zoom game night with Liam hosting again. Oh, Liam, you can introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, and I'm still Liam.
He's still Liam. But anyway, so my question for the day today is, what is your favorite treat to get at the Snack Shack?
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, Moxie's my favorite soda, but Moxie, I can get that at different times. So my favorite junior camp Snack Shack treat would have to be a Moxie float, because then you combine the ice cream with the Moxie float.
And that was the first place that I'd ever heard of a Moxie float. For one, I'm not from Maine, so Moxie is not a thing where I'm from originally. So to just drink Moxie is weird to me. But then to put ice cream in Moxie is even weirder.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, let's see. What is my favorite Snack Shack treat? They've got some really good ones. Honestly, Snack Shack is the highlight of a lot of people's week. I think I like the pretzels.
Ooh,
and I like it with the salt or with the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah.
I like them both ways. So that would definitely be mine. So, campers, today, make a special Snack Shack treat with your family. And think about the really great times we have actually on those little trees behind Liam, where we usually have our hammocks hanging and we have our Snack Shack treats. And enjoy sharing some memories with your families about the things that you did during Snack Shack and the yummy snacks that you got to eat. So we will see you tonight at the live Zoom, and stay tuned obviously for our Bible study that'll come right here in a couple seconds, but we look forward to seeing y'all tonight. Have a good So today we're going to be going through Daniel 5, but just a quick review of what we've gone through so far. We had Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego taken into captivity in Babylon by King Nebuchadnezzar. They got there and decided they really wanted to make sure they were honoring God in the things that they did, and so they continued in their diet. The leadership allowed them to do those things, and they actually found favor in the leadership. Daniel was able to interpret a dream of the king, and because of that, he and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were raised, higher in the government. And then we were told in Daniel 3 about how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow down to a statue made by King Nebuchadnezzar because they wanted to honor God, and they recognized that God was the only one that it should be worshiping and bowing down to. They were thrown into the fiery furnace, where they were rescued miraculously. And when the king looked into the fiery furnace, of course, he saw 4 men instead of the 3, and the men came out not even smelling of smoke. There again, they earned an even higher position in leadership in the country. And so we're going to pick up now in chapter 5 with our next video.
Darius the Mede rose to power after King Belteshazzar, and he decided to divide his kingdom into 120 smaller areas called provinces. This was a huge undertaking, and the king quickly found that, despite the fact that he was an elderly man now, there was no one in his kingdom as talented and trustworthy as Daniel. So the king Darius put Daniel in charge of his entire kingdom. Being in control of so much of the kingdom made the other administrators jealous, and they began to look for a way to get rid of Daniel. The wicked advisors went to King Darius and said, "O great king, we are all in agreement that no one is as great as you. Because of this, we advise that you make a law that any person who prays to anyone other than you should be thrown into the lion's den." The king agreed to the law. But when Daniel heard that the law had been signed, he went to his house and prayed to God as he normally did. Just as they expected, the wicked advisors found Daniel praying in his house. They immediately went to King Darius and said, "Daniel is breaking your law by praying to his God. You must send him to the lion's den." The king was heartbroken, and he spent the whole day looking for a way to save Daniel. But the law couldn't be broken. The king gave orders to have Daniel captured and thrown to the lions. The king told Daniel, "May your God save you." After Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, a stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den. King Darius sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles, so that no one could rescue Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He refused his usual entertainment and couldn't sleep at all that night. Very early the next morning, King Darius hurried out to the lion's den and called out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, did your God rescue you from the lions?" Much to the king's surprise, Daniel answered, "Long live the king! My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me." The king was overjoyed, and he ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. Not a scratch was found on him. Then King Darius sent this message to the people of every race and nation and language throughout the world: "Peace and prosperity to you. Everyone in my kingdom should tremble with fear before the God of Daniel, because he is the living God, and he will endure forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and his rule will never end. He rescues and saves his people."
So there's a new king, King Darius, who is now ruling, and even with all the different advisors and things he has, he finds that he can trust and has the most confidence in Daniel, who's an old man at this point. And so he seeks advice from Daniel, and he really kind of shows his favor, and the other advisors are very jealous. And so they immediately start thinking of ways to basically trip Daniel up and get him in trouble. And they start by reminding the king just how great he is, and basically saying, "You know what? You're the best, and you're the only one that anyone should be praying to." And of course, they knew that Daniel was faithful and that Daniel prayed only to God. And so they made a law that said you could only pray to the king. Daniel, of course, broke the law by going home and immediately praying, and the advisors turned him in. And the king was pretty sad about the fact that he was going to have to punish Daniel, but he had written it into law, and so it had to be that way. Most of you know that Daniel made it through the night, obviously, and we don't really know what happened inside the den or anything like that, but we do know that in the morning, after being thrown into the den with hungry lions and a huge stone rolled in the way so that he couldn't escape, they opened up the den, and Daniel was there alive. And the king was amazed, and he said, "You know what? You serve the one true God, and that's who we should be praying to." And so he made it so that people had to pray only to God. Daniel, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were faithful to their commitment to God. They did really hard things that they knew could get them in trouble. And in both situations, with the fiery furnace and with the lion's den, it could have led to their death. They decided that they were going to be obedient to God and that they were going to serve him only, even in the hard times. when you look at both Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego with the fiery furnace and with Daniel, you notice that the kings really kind of had a change of heart about the one true God when they saw that he had been able to shut the lions' mouths, and that they had been able to withstand the heat of the fiery furnace. That God really showed himself in a new way to the leadership, to the kings at the time, through the faithful service of Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Have a good day. We hope to see you then. Game night tonight.